Hey everyone, I'm back and today we're going to be talking about Jurassic Park 3. And this movie is directed by Joe Johnston, not Steven Spielberg. And this movie stars Sam Neill, William H. Macy, and other people that I just can't remember right now. And what this movie is about is we have Sam Neill, who is struggling to get funding, and William H. Macy comes along to offer him money. And what he's told, why he's being hired, is because him and his wife are going on a vacation, just fly right above Isla Nublar. That's it, Isla Nublar. And they're like, we need a guide, and maybe you can help guide us around the island and like show us where things are. And or that, at least that's my interpretation of what it was. And after that point, Alan Grant starts to realize that he wasn't hired because they were going on a little family trip. It's because they're looking for their son. They have no money, and their son got stuck on the island because he was with one of the parents' friends. And now they're looking for him, and they get chased by dinosaurs, and the movie sucks. Now I've reviewed the first two Jurassic Park movies. This one I really love. The first one is great. I have a review for it, so check that out. And The Lost World I thought was decent. I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. This movie is the shortest out of all of them, but somehow it is the most boring. As I was watching this movie, I couldn't believe how boring it was. I was falling asleep as we were getting closer and closer and closer to the end. I was just barely awake. And before I get further into my negatives, I want to stay positive. Let's stay positive here. I think that Sam Neill and Laura Dern are really good in the movie. Laura Dern's not in it a lot, but when she's on screen, I think she's good. Sam Neill is the best part of this movie, and I think he carries the movie, or at least he makes the movie bearable to watch. And I think the first 25 minutes, I'll be generous and say 25 minutes, that part of the movie is solid. Not great, solid. It has some issues, but it works. I was interested in where it was going to go. There was a fun action scene with the Spinosaurus. It's the new big dinosaur, and it fights a T-Rex for about 30 seconds, and it was fun while it lasted. And I enjoyed how things were being set up, and there were some fun moments, like with Sam Neill telling the kid, oh, don't... herbivores wouldn't fight against each other, but a T-Rex and a Velociraptor, they would, because, how do you pronounce it? They're carnivores? I never learned how to pronounce that word. Stuff like that is kind of fun. However, once we get to the island, that's when it kind of gets downhill, and that Spinosaurus fight, while there are I have some problems with it, it's kind of fun. But after that, the fun dies. Not because the movie takes itself so seriously that I can't enjoy it, it's because nothing interesting is happening, the characters are paper thin, there's nothing going on with any of the characters that I'm interested in. In this movie, William H. Macy and his character is, or ex-wife, because it's revealed that they're divorced. They try to add in some scenes where they're kind of bonding, and I get what they're trying to do. The movie is trying to give them something. But the problem is, it's just above nothing that I barely feel anything, if even that. And also, aside from Sam Neill and Laura Dern, pretty much all of the acting is not great. The majority of the performances in this movie, for me, it felt really underperformed, or sometimes there was some overacting, like from William H. Macy's character's wife. She was bad in this movie. She's constantly screaming. She's really annoying. And there are scenes where she's just standing and just has her mouth opened, and it looks so stupid. it's so stupid. I don't know what they were going for. I'm going to talk about the special effects really quickly. It was fine. I didn't find the CGI to be inconsistent, which is a good thing. Do I think it holds up compared to the first two? Not really. I mean, there are a couple moments in the first two where the CGI doesn't hold up, but for the most part, in the first two movies, it really works and is very impressive. Here, it felt very much like it was just an animated movie like Shrek or something. The music in this movie, as I was thinking about this, I realized that once I finished the movie, I couldn't remember a single thing when it comes to music. It just like it was like it wasn't even there. Maybe it wasn't even there for the most part, but I couldn't tell you. I don't remember the music, and which is so strange because I can think of certain scenes from the first two, and I can also reincorporate the music that went along with the scene. Like in the first Jurassic Park, there's so many scenes where the music is great, and there are also scenes in that first movie where they choose not to use music, and it works just as well, if not better. And even in The Lost World, there are scenes that have music, and I can remember the music being used very well. Here, I don't remember a single thing when it comes to the music. I kind of remember the theme being being changed just a little bit. I noticed it being a little bit faster, and they had slightly different spin on it. I was like, that sounds different. And that's about it. It was only in the movie like 2 times. I'm going to talk about the second half. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything. But that was when the movie was at its low point for me, because I'm supposed to be feeling tension, and there's lots of action scenes where everyone is just running away from dinosaurs. In that first half, I felt as if there were consequences because there were some characters that died. In the second half, I didn't feel any consequences because everyone just felt invincible, and even when they tried to make characters die, I never believed that they were going to die. And there's also a lot of things in this movie that do not make any sense, and it's just really stupid. And one of the stupidest things in this movie for me is at one point you have a character that hears something, and they go running towards that noise, and they think that, oh, it came. They hear a cell phone, and they go running to where the noise is, and eventually this character meets with another character, and they're saying that, oh, I heard the noise, that's how I knew it to come this way, and everyone is looking at each other and thinking to themselves, I don't have what made that noise. They turn around and they see a dinosaur just standing there. It's the Spinosaurus. And they turn around and they see the Spinosaurus just standing there. Not moving. Just standing there. And it only decides to move once the humans start moving. Why? And also, the reason why the characters turned around is because the sound was going off, and it was also implied that the sound was coming from the Spinosaurus' stomach. I'm going to talk about the sound mixing for this movie because for some reason this was not an issue with the first two movies, or at least not to my memory. This movie, during action scenes, it's really loud, but when it's just characters talking, it's really quiet. And I started noticing that within the second half of the movie. I was like, whoa, holy crap. The audio mixing is kind of sucks in this movie. I kind of want to go back to the second half of the movie really quickly, because I already mentioned that I don't care about any of the characters, and I think they're just paper thin or they're just nothings to me. And in the second half of the movie, there's a lot of action going on, but My problem with it is that it's extremely boring because I don't care about what's going on, and also it's about between 30 seconds to 2 minutes long, so even if you're enjoying it, it's not even that satisfying, and it's kind of like you blink and you miss it. And there's a lot of action scenes going on, and because I'm not invested, these scenes are so dull, and when it goes back to scenes of people talking, that's when it's less boring, but it's still really boring, and it just drags down the movie so much for me because I don't care about what's going on, and even when the movie attempts to make me care about these characters, it doesn't work because they're given just about nothing, and even if they developed them more, I doubt I would like them because I just don't find these characters interesting. And that's about all I have to say about Jurassic Park 3. Within the first 15 minutes, I thought it was going to be alright at best. And I was thinking like it was going to be like 5 out of 10. Just worse than Lost World, but not terrible. Like, this is passable. I can still sit down and watch this. But once we got past the Spinosaurus versus T-Rex and the movie got consistently more boring as it went along, I struggled to stay awake. I almost I was this close to falling asleep. And because of that, I was leaning more towards, okay, it's just kind of bad, doesn't really work. But when I looked for positives, I could barely find anything that I liked about it. And the only things I can kind of say that I haven't said already is that it's not the most incompetent movie I've ever seen. There are certainly movies that are worse, but as a fan of the first two Jurassic Park movies, I love the first one. I enjoyed the second one. I never want to see this movie again. If I was being like objective, I would say possibly a 4 out of 10, but I'm giving this a 3 out of 10. I never want to see this again. This movie nearly put me to sleep. I cannot stand this movie, and it was a chore to sit through. Not very good. So those are my thoughts on Jurassic Park 3. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of Jurassic Park 3 down below. And my social media links will all be in the description down below, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation. And I'll see you when I get my next review up. And since I'm already doing these Jurassic Park movies, I might as well just do Jurassic World and get this out of the way, because I said I would. I wanted to do all of these movies within the month, or at least 3 and 4. 5 I've already reviewed. It was like a really quick, like in a small part in one of my older videos from 2018. But until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.